story is Milly-Molly-Mandy Goes for a Picnic. Once upon a time, Milly-Molly-Mandy was going for a picnic. It was a real, proper picnic. Father and mother and uncle and auntie were all going too, and little friend Susan and Billy Blunt, because it wouldn't seem quite a real, proper picnic without little friend Susan and Billy Blunt. They were going to take the red bus from the crossroads to a specially nice picnic place where Milly-Molly-Mandy hadn't ever been before, because it was quite a long way off. The nicest places often do seem to be quite a long way off somehow. Grandma and Grandpa weren't going. They said they would rather stay at home in the nice white cottage with the thatched roof and keep house and milk the cows if the picnickers weren't back in time. It was a quiet, misty sort of morning, which looked as if it meant to turn out into a fine hot day, as Mother and Father and Uncle and Auntie and Milly-Molly-Mandy and Toby the dog set off down the road to the village, carrying the picnic things. Here they are, carrying the picnic things, and there's Toby the dog, there's Milly-Molly-Mandy. When they came to the Moggs' cottage, little friend Susan, in a clean cotton frock, was ready and waiting for them at the gate. And when they came to Mr. Blunt's corn shop, Billy Blunt, in a new khaki shirt with pockets, was ready and waiting for them by the side door. And when they came to the crossroads, the red bus was already at the bus stop, and as of course it wouldn't wait long for them, they all had to run like anything. But they just caught it and climbed inside. Father took the tickets. Let's see. Father and Mother and Uncle and Auntie, that's 4 grown-up tickets, and little friend Susan, Billy Blunt, and Milly-Molly-Mandy, that's 3 half tickets. Father had asked the bus conductor as they got on, "Do you mind the dog?" And the bus conductor didn't, so Toby rode under the seat for nothing. Milly-Molly-Mandy said to little friend Susan and Billy Blunt as the bus went rattling along, "You haven't been to this place before, have you?" hoping that they hadn't. Billy Blunt said, "Once, but I don't remember it. I was young then." Little friend Susan said, "No, but my mother and father went a long time ago, and they say it is a nice place, and there's a wishing well there, and you can drop a pin in and wish." Billy Blunt said, "Don't believe in wishing wells. Can't make things come true, not if they aren't really." And Milly-Molly-Mandy said, "Oh, neither do I, but it's fun to pretend." And little friend Susan thought so too. When they came to the next village, where the bus turned round ready to go back again, they all had to get out and walk. Father and Mother and Uncle and Auntie walked in twos, and Milly-Molly-Mandy and little friend Susan and Billy Blunt walked all in a bunch, and Toby the dog ran here and there, snorting into holes and getting his nose muddy. He did enjoy it. The sun shone hot now, and they began to get quite thirsty, but Mother said, "We're nearly there, and then you can have a nice drink at the well." And Auntie gave them some fruit sweets wrapped in coloured papers. Milly-Molly-Mandy and little friend Susan put their sweet wrappers into their baskets, and Billy Blunt put his into his shirt pockets to throw away when they got home. Father said, "Well, anyone can see you've been properly brought up," 'cause he put his rubbish in his pocket to take home and throw away, not on the side of the road. He wished everyone who used that path did the same. He kept poking other people's bits of sweet paper and orange peel into the hedge with his stick as he went along, because they made the path look so nasty. Mother said, "I think this place ought to look nicer because we've been there, not nastier." And Milly-Molly-Mandy and little friend Susan thought the same. Billy Blunt found a stick and helped poke the litter away too. At last they came to the specially nice picnic place, and it really was almost like a fairy glen, with daisies and buttercups and grassy slopes and trees to climb, and little streams running through the middle. But other people must have been there for picnics too, for would you believe it, they had left paper bags and eggshells and litter everywhere, and it almost spoiled everywhere, I can tell you. "Oh dear," said Father and Mother and Uncle and Auntie, looking all about. "Where's the wishing well?" asked Milly-Molly-Mandy and little friend Susan and Billy Blunt, looking all about too. Father led the way to where some big old trees were stooping round as if trying to hide something, and in behind them, Milly-Molly-Mandy and little friend Susan and Billy Blunt saw a deep round hole in a wet rock. It was simply covered over with beautiful green ferns and moss, and water, sparkling like crystal and cold as ice, was dripping down into it over the mossy rocks at the back. It really did look just like a wishing well. Milly-Molly-Mandy and little friend Susan and Billy Blunt leaned over to see if they could see any pins lying at the bottom. But other people must have been there too, and would you believe it, they had thrown in old tins and ice cream cartons and litter, and there it was all lying under the water that was clear as crystal and cold as ice. "Oh dear," said Milly-Molly-Mandy and little friend Susan and Billy Blunt. "Oh dear, for you couldn't think of dropping a pin in and wishing there. You couldn't even have a drink." Then Father said, "Mates, there's a spot of work to be done around here. We'd better get busy." And he fished up some rusty tins out of the well with his stick. Then Billy Blunt fished out some wet papers and cartons with his stick, and Milly-Molly-Mandy and little friend Susan picked up bits of silver paper and bus tickets scattered about, and Father buried it all down a hole under a rock where it wouldn't be seen. They didn't have the same sort of plastic rubbish that we have now. They had paper and things like that usually rot down if they don't have a plastic coating on. But these days we'd put it in the bin. They probably didn't have a bin. The well didn't look clear now, but Father said it would soon settle and be crystal clear again, as a wishing well should be, so they thought they had better wait before making their wishes. Meantime, Mother and Auntie had chosen the best spot for the picnic, so Milly-Molly-Mandy and little friend Susan and Billy Blunt got busy collecting all the scraps of paper lying about, and Uncle put a match to them. He took good care to do it where nothing else could catch fire or hurt the growing things, because, of course, when you have roots like trees and plants, you can't move out of the way when you're getting hurt. Billy Blunt collected bits of broken glass too, lest Toby the dog should cut his paws, and Father buried it safely. By then it was time for the picnic, so they all washed their hands in the little stream running through the middle and sat down to enjoy themselves. They had hard-boiled eggs and brown bread and butter and cheese and tomatoes and buns and a big jam tart. And to think there was hot tea to drink, there was hot tea from a thermos for the grown-ups and cold milk for the young ones. And they were all so thirsty they drank up every drop. Toby the dog drank all he wanted from the little stream. When everyone had quite done, they packed everything tidily away in their baskets to take home with them, all their empty bottles and wrapping papers and string, and then Father gave a great sigh of satisfaction and lay back in the sunshine and put his hat over his face, and Mother sat in the shade and took up her knitting, and Uncle pulled out his newspaper with the crossword puzzle, and Auntie opened her nice new ladies' magazine. But Milly-Molly-Mandy and little friend Susan and Billy Blunt and Toby the dog all wanted to be up and doing, so they ran about paddling in the little stream and climbing the trees and playing hide and seek, and wherever they went they tidied up until there wasn't a bit of litter to be seen. "Well," said Milly-Molly-Mandy, looking about when it was almost time to go, "this picnic place looks ever so much nicer now we've visited it. I should think the next people would be pleased." "I wish," said little friend Susan, "everybody would leave nice places nice when they visit them." That made Billy Blunt remember something, and he said, "We never made our wishes at the wishing well." So they all three rushed over to the wishing well, and there it was, clear as crystal and cold as ice, right down to the bottom, as a wishing well should be. Mother gave them a cup, and they all drank and filled up their bottle. "Dropping just a pin in won't spoil it now, will it?" said Milly-Molly-Mandy. "We can't make a proper wish without a pin," said little friend Susan. "Won't make any difference anyhow," said Billy Blunt. But then he looked a bit disappointed all the same when Mother could only find 2 pins, which she gave to Milly-Molly-Mandy and little friend Susan. But then Father found one under his coat lapel and handed it to Billy Blunt, and Billy Blunt looked quite pleased as he took it. So they each dropped a pin into the wishing well and solemnly wished. They couldn't tell their wishes out loud because that might have spoiled the magic, but I think they all wished the same wish. And as Father said, if enough people wish a wish, and it's a good wish, it's quite likely to come to pass. So let's hope that Milly-Molly-Mandy's and little friend Susan's and Billy Blunt's wishes all come true. The end. So, Don't leave the rubbish lying around. Pick up the rubbish that you find along the way and find a rubbish bin to put it in. And as much as possible, don't use plastic because it won't rot, unlike the paper that they buried. See you next time.